Hello, everyone who's watching right now, all you people, and welcome to episode number 175 Retro Fandango. But I went back and checked, and we're on the ball with the numbers. This is indeed episode 175.
Fantastic.
Believe it or not, we didn't miss. No missteps.
I am impressed.
Quick Save Club.
That I never check.
Well, apparently you didn't have to. Quick Save Club is playing racing games. Right now, the wheels are in motion to actually record an episode, and we're looking at March 3rd that it might happen. Might.
Mm-hmm.
Next
No
month, we're playing.
holdouts this month. Nobody flaking on the racing games.
Not so far. Not so far, but there's plenty of time.
You've heard buzz from everybody like, hey, I'm enjoying this game. I'm playing this game.
Oh, no.
No.
Absolutely not. That would be way too much to ask for. No,
There's
you mean
no
like
little
interaction?
back and forth beforehand. People
Oh, hell
confirming
no.
like, yes, I am actually playing the game.
Nah. This is the Quick Save Club. It's not the Cartridge Club. We get zero interaction over there. Fix my strap. Next month, we're playing mods, some of our favorite mods. In April, we're playing Shadow Warrior, May, Crystal Caves, and in June, FTL. Cartridge Club this month is playing Ghostbusters, the video game, which I assume we'll be recording an episode for that soon.
Well, that would be up to the person organizing the events to, tell everybody and actually choose a date, time.
I gave my time. Like I said, this is when I'm available. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did. There's so much going on. And it's
I
getting a little crazy.
Everybody did that.
Okay. It's getting a little crazy with the podcast. I got to admit.
You are stretching yourself.
It's a little much right now. But then, next month I won't have this Cartridge Club thing hanging over my head. But I'm happy to do it. It's been a long time since I've been on. When was the last time you were on the Cartridge Club?
I did one with the Q Dogs not too long. Well, I guess
a year.
Been about a year ago.
Yeah.
Gosh, what was it? Was it the Mickey Mouse game?
Yeah, Castle of Illusion.
Castle of Illusion.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Last one I did was the RTS. I'm blanking on the name. StarCraft. Yeah, that was
game.
Yeah, well, sorry, I guess we can't hang with you Mickey Mouse video game people.
Mickey Mouse is all right.
And then next month, coming up very soon, there'll be a bunch of Ninja Turtle games happening over at the Cartridge Club. Then RF Gen is playing some Disney Capcom games: Little Mermaid, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, and DuckTales. And then for Film Dango this month, we're doing Godfather 1 and 2, and 3 if you want to. Part of the reason why I have nothing to talk about today is because I watched all the Godfather movies this week, and I have to wait until we do the Film Dango to talk about them. So
all of them.
I watched them. We went 3 for 3 Godfathers in 3 days. And let me tell you, that Godfather 3, a spoiler alert, it's still not worth it. It's not worth your time.
It's not worth the 3 hours you put in?
No. But I have a feeling you're going to end up doing it anyways, because...
At what point during that film, and you've seen it before, so you know firsthand what you're in for.
Every time I watch it, I think this is it. This is the last time I'll never have to watch this movie again. And then I get sucked in. As soon as I'm out, it pulls me back in.
Hey, Kyle.
Hello, Kyle.
So at what point when watching Godfather Part 3, that is the name? The Godfather Part 3?
Yeah.
At what point, like how many minutes in do you realize I shouldn't be doing this? Like, it's
that's a
not
good question.
Better.
That's a good question. There was a point when I was watching it, I would say about 10, because there's a lot that I forgot. And then like as stuff was happening in the movie, I was like, oh, it's coming back to me. All the garbage in this movie, it's all coming back. So I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 20.
Wow, that much, huh?
Yeah.
And that's it. That sets the tone for the rest of the film.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Yo-Yo Ma, what's up? What's up?
3 should have been replaced with Scarface. Well, I don't know. I'm hoping to do an Al Pacino follow-up at some point with Scarface, Dog Day Afternoon. I'm not sure what the other one should be. Maybe Serpico. I've seen Serpico so many times, and it's been aped so many times. Like that plot has just been copied so many times. I think it's kind of lost its effectiveness. But anyways, did you add anything to the outline? Nope.
Let
0.
me open that outline and check.
Because I'm serious, I got nothing, man. I watched the Godfather movies, and then that's it. The rest I've been doing is work for other podcasts other than this. This has been low priority all week.
Okay, well, let's looks like the Quick Save Club's going to be playing some racing games.
Yeah, no, sorry, dude. You got to skip down a little bit.
Shadow Warrior. No, this looks about right. This looks like my week.
Well, how come you got nothing?
I have been preparing for a podcast, and I have continued watching a little bit of the MCU television version. So I'm still on the Defenders.
Oh, but you're not enjoying it.
No, I've changed my tune on that.
Oh,
At first, all I could do was compare it to Daredevil because that's all I had seen, and it wasn't as good. It seemed a little looser. The story was kind of like it wasn't too interesting. You could kind of see where it's going. The writing wasn't as good, but it did get pretty silly after like the 3rd episode or so. And I was like, okay, it's just silly fun. I can take that.
okay.
Mostly because it really, aside from the overall tone that is established by these series, it still feels kind of like a 90s 1 hour television show that you'd see on like a Sunday afternoon. It was just like, okay, we're the bad guys, we're the good guys. Hey, look at that. We got listeners chiming in, adding content to the show.
That's good. Marvel just got the rights back to Jessica Jones and the Punisher, so there's that. So that'll probably end up on Disney Plus. Hey, there's a question for you too. Kyle asks, is there a MCU movie that Vox is looking forward to the most?
Of the ones that I haven't seen?
I guess, yeah.
No. Just flat out no. There's
Nothing.
One that seems more appealing than the other. I've heard good things about certain ones, but I'm not excited to watch any of them, really.
Does anything
out
excite
of
you?
obligation.
Does anything excite you at all? There's a question. That's a question Kyle should be asking. Oh. And will he Vox it?
Yeah. Whatever that means.
That means you bail early. You give it 5 minutes and say, no, this isn't for me, and then you're gone.
Oh, like someone watching The Godfather Part 3, apparently.
I'm just telling you what it means. I'm not accusing you of that. I'm just saying what it means.
I don't know. I watched Iron Man and the Hulk, and I enjoyed them both.
Yeah.
I enjoyed seeing photos of Bill's new Masters of the Universe shelf.
That was pretty nice.
Toys Put all his toys in one spot.
Did see that.
Behind glass.
I hope that lighting is not fluorescent, though. Because that'll fade your toys.
I'm sure he's already obsessed over that because he used to have video game stuff in there.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He wouldn't be able to resell that.
Oh, I feel all this pressure now. We prepared nothing, and we even got Chris Roberts in here now. This is too much. All you people, go find something else to do so we can just fox this in.
No, we could do a live AMA.
Ask me anything. Sure.
There you go.
Sure.
Because that you guys figured it out. That's what we really had planned for this episode.
That's right. Good.
We didn't
good
just
job.
Show up.
That's right. Well, in the meantime, while we wait for some questions to flood in, I did finish Cobra Kai season 3.
You powered on through. Wrapped it all up, and it still doesn't make any sense why these dojos are fighting. I don't get it. Well, I think I'm a little fuzzy, even though I just watched this a month ago or whatever. Was it still the dojos fighting or more the individual students?
Yeah, no, they were still all on one dojo
I know
versus the other,
right? The teachers had their thing. The teachers had their thing, and they have their silly fight. And then it was a lot of the personal conflict between that little triangle of students.
Yeah, but they still had the little kid versus the other little kid, and every time.
Oh right, yeah, there was that big fight.
Yeah.
What do you think of those big stupid fights?
It made no sense. So this one, spoiler alert for Cobra Kai. If you haven't gotten to the end of Cobra Kai season 3, go do something else. So at the end of season 3, they get in a big fight inside of Daniel-san's house, in his home.
Mm-hmm.
The bad guys break in, they beat up all the good guys that are hanging out there.
No. See that?
Yeah.
This is the problem right here. It's not the bad guys break in. It's the teenagers. the little teenagers, the little high school kids throw another high school student through a window.
Yeah.
I can't watch these big the Raid-esque fights with little teenagers. It looks so stupid.
Well, it's really bad in some scenes. The choreography is really there was one point where they slowed down the choreography to make it all dramatic with the dramatic music, and it did not look good. Slowed down. You could see the people holding their punch, or they call pulling their punches as they're going in, and but it just didn't make any sense. As soon as the kid gets flung through the window, they just pick up the phone, call the cops. What are you doing? And then they break into the people's homes. This isn't a fight out in a yard somewhere. This is actually them breaking and entering. You got them now. Call the police. No, nobody calls the police. They all just continue to fight. It makes zero sense. No sense.
At least I don't think they did it so much in season 3, but season 1 and 2, again, these are high school kids. They constantly had parties with huge amounts of alcohol. These kids were constantly getting drunk.
Yeah.
It just did it. How does any of this happen?
Oh, well, I mean, that would happen.
No. Somebody would sneak in a couple of bottles, something like that. They had full on kegs, and that's the only thing that was going on.
Oh yeah, no, when I was in high school, that was it was very easy to find. I grew up in Sudbury, Ontario.
In Canada.
Look, I grew up in Sudbury, Ontario. And there's nothing else to do but to drink. It's a mining town, so it was very easy to get alcohol. Plus, the drinking age is 19, not 21, so it's very easy to find a 19-year-old who will buy alcohol for you.
That's where you live. I remember.
Bill's with me here.
Season of
the alcohol was the most realistic. That was my experience.
Gosh, I thought I grew up in a bad neighborhood. You guys.
Kreese is like Trump. He's untouchable. Yeah, I get that part of it. It's just I don't know. I just don't buy into all these kids just fighting for no reason. Like
they've got that deep-rooted anger.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I don't know.
Nothing's gonna hold them back.
Anyway, it came off very cheesy, very stupid. But I'm still gonna watch it. Stop watching. And
you're in the same boat I am. I'm waiting for the good parts, and I zone out a bit during the bad parts.
Like I still do like Johnny Lawrence, the character. I'm still rooting for him. I still think that's a fun character. He's like a Archie Bunker type, like when he's firing up his computer, he doesn't realize that Wi-Fi means you still have to plug in your computer to power it up, and Facebook is not just something that exists on your phone. Like that stuff's all fun. Yeah. That's good. That's good times. It's just all the dumb stuff with the teenagers. Like I wish it would just stop. And at least at the end of this season, finally, Danielson and Mr. Lawrence are getting together. They're like, because there's just so much stupid stuff that was happening between them. And it was like, if they would just sit and talk and chat and hash this out, it would, I guess it wouldn't be a season.
Well, I think 4. They did that in every season where they'd have like a moment where they kind of, they see eye to eye, and then something happens. Yeah. So that's going to happen again. They'll do this for a while, and then something's going to happen, and then
it's very 90210 stuff that I would never watch. But this has martial arts in it, so it still has me. So let's be going. We do have a question here.
Pretend they're Jackie Chan.
Bill wants to know who picked out your sweatshirt.
My wife did. She gave me this a few years ago.
What is it?
It's like people skiing. Yeah, it's not one that I would have bought for myself, but it's actually very comfortable. Keeps me warm.
That's the important thing, man. Comfort's king, especially in just lying around the house recording a stupid podcast.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, look at all these comments.
Here we go. Johnny keeps getting so good. Nuanced performance, considering how bad his acting was early on. I still find it slips sometimes. Like it's not.
He's not the greatest actor, but he had a decent teenage acting career.
Oh, welcome, Deep. He likes your hoodie as well, or maybe it's mine. I don't know. Which hoodie? Maybe we should send each other our hoodies, and then we can do a who wore it better.
I'm pretty sure I got all the snaz.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do too. Well, that's it. Then after that, I started WKRP again
in Cincinnati.
Yeah, because finally the 4th season went on sale, so I picked that up.
How many seasons are there?
There's 4 seasons, and so the first season was originally released by Fox, I think it was, and they put it out as cheaply as possible, and they cut out, because the show takes place on a radio station, and they cut out all the commercial music from it. They either overdubbed it with like some generic music or just cut scenes out altogether.
Wow. That's
it was pretty bad. So then Shout Factory got the rights, the DVD rights to put it out, and they put out the seasons proper. They went and they got as much as they possibly could. You can go online and you can see like there's people that have actually compared their original broadcast recordings with the DVD, and the consensus is that they got 99.9% of of the commercial music, and the stuff they couldn't get, they still found ways to make it so the jokes will still work, because sometimes the jokes, like they would just cut out jokes altogether, right? Like there was this part where one episode where Johnny Fever was playing a Pink Floyd song on the radio, and there was dogs barking, and there was like a little back and forth, like between Mr. Carlson, the head of the station, who was like the old fogey, and he was like, I don't understand like today's music, and there was like a little back and forth, and they just hacked that out on the original DVDs. So on this one, they couldn't get the rights to the Pink Floyd song, but they still made it in a way where they were playing a song that had dogs barking in it, so at least the jokes would make sense, and So they just did little stuff like that. But it's good. But and the rights that they did get for a lot of songs, like they had Bob Dylan, they had the Rolling Stones. That stuff's not cheap. So
it's amazing because it can delay or cancel a lot of these shows that you'd expect. Like, hey, how come that's not on home video? How come it's not on DVD or whatever?
Yeah.
And the answer is usually licensed music. The Wonder Years, that was held up for a very long time.
Yep.
Perfect Strangers. They put out like the first 2 seasons of that, I don't know, like 10, 12 years ago, and then nothing. And for a long time, people were wondering, like, what, did it not sell well? Why would they not put this out? That was kind of a big show. And it turns out that Balky would often sing copyrighted songs. Even though they weren't playing the song, he would just sing them.
Yeah.
And that tied it up for years. And I think they're finally all out now. But
wow.
One of the licensed music.
Well, and the licensed music for WKRP was really important. You wouldn't think it would be, but it is. One, because a lot of they would play the music in the background while they're doing their dialogue stuff. But it also added like this extra element to how cool the radio station was. That they were playing all this cool music. When it's just generic stuff, it doesn't really have that same effect. So it has you rooting for the little radio station that could. Kind of thing when they're playing the cool stuff. Got some comments here. Kyle says, I can see Mars being in Cobra Kai and Box being in Miyagi-Do. I actually personally would not join either of them because I think they're both stupid. And
you're going to start your own dojo.
I'd just stay at home. Do something else.
Lazy do.
Although there you go. That's my dojo. Do nothing. Although my parents did try to get me into karate when I was a kid. And now I kind of regret it. I should have taken it up. But when I was a kid, I felt like you needed to know how to do karate before you joined karate.
Right. You got to be an athlete.
Yeah. And my parents would say, no, like they'll teach you how to do it. And I'm like, I don't believe you because I was used to gym class, where it's like, here's a basketball, play basketball. And it's like, I don't need what's okay. Shoot the ball through the net. No, that's not your net. That's their net. Well, and you can't carry the ball and all. Like no one would explain to you the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're bringing back memories. My high school gym teacher, who weighed about 300 pounds. He would separate us into teams for basketball season. I didn't know what March Madness was back then. He would just start saying March Madness. Never explained anything. Right. And suddenly we're playing basketball all the time. And he'd basically throw out a couple of balls, watch everybody play. There's no instruction, no tutorial. No, this is how you shoot a basket. This is how you dribble or anything. And then after 5 minutes, he's like, okay, you guys go over here. You're going to be the good team. And you guys go over here. You're the not so good team. And then
was
that's
this
it.
Reese?
Just
or Crease? Crease?
Basically. But yeah, there was never any attempt to instruct or teach or anything. It's just, here's a ball. You're doing it wrong. Get over there. No, you guys are doing it right. Okay.
Yeah. And, everybody seemed to know the rules. They all knew because they had like older brothers or dads who were into sports and would teach them at home, all this stuff. And meanwhile, like I had no idea. Like I remember playing baseball and they were like, okay, you go to third base. You're going to be third base. I'm like, all right, third base. And I never even watched the baseball game before. And so I thought when I had to be third base, I had to stay on third base. So then the ball gets hit to your area, and I'm trying to keep 1 foot on third base while catching the ball. And people are like, what are you doing? And all that. And suddenly they threw me in the outfield, which was even worse because I couldn't throw or shit. So whatever.
No idea.
And then ball hockey. I remember playing ball hockey, and I'm trying to remember what it is now. What's that line in hockey that you can't cross and then go back? I can't even remember it now. It's been so long since I watched hockey. But there's a line where you can't cross. You can't cross and then go back, or you have to clear it and come back or whatever. And nobody ever explained what that.
Is that the one at the goal?
Offside. It was offside one. Offside. So there's
All
like a
I know
line.
is that when I played Blades of Steel on the NES, I'd get in trouble if I went behind the goalie net, and I didn't understand why.
No, I think you can go behind the goalie net.
I don't know. Sometimes it would just like a whistle would go, and then suddenly we're back in the middle again. I didn't understand it. I just was waiting to start.
Chris Roberts had it again. It's the blue line, so you have to go. It's before, like there's your zone, right? And you have to bring the puck. You as the opposing player have to bring the puck into the zone. And if you, I don't know, if somebody passes it to you, you have to come back. Like it's offside. You can't pass through that line. So, you just be skating around and passing it and whatever, not skating, but running around and passing it and that. And then people just yell offside. And you're like, okay, I guess this thing's offside. I don't know what that means. And I was always on the wrong side. And I don't know. I hated the whole thing. The whole thing was just.
We had the same thing with football once. I think this was elementary school. And we were playing football in the gym. Somehow I got the ball. I didn't ask for it. It landed in my hands. And their team was going one way, so I assumed I'm supposed to go the other way or something. And then I got the ball and I started running, and they're like, "You're going the wrong way." Did the side switch? Does that happen? Does your goal change from one side to the other or something? I don't know. I think where is it? Kyle's got it, and I've been disgruntled against sports ever since. Like I've had nothing but bad experiences because they would constantly, like you said, put you in a game and never explain the rules. You just had to know it,
right? And
that was it,
right? So that would be a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. And then your parents are like, "Well, why don't you go do some of that nightmare in your free time when you're not in school?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to."
Did you ever actually go to a karate class, or they were just trying to talk you into it?
They were just trying to talk me into it.
Okay.
Which now in hindsight, I wish I would have, because that would have been fun to learn. But no, I never went. But you brought up football. I actually didn't mind football when we played football because somebody actually explained to me what the line of scrimmage was. Like I didn't understand anything else about football. Like they were going like one down and two downs, and I did not understand any of that. But someone explained to me what the line of scrimmage was, and that's where the football lands. That's the line of scrimmage, and you have to get the football past that part, or like 10 yards in front of that part.
Don't you have to get it all the way to the goal at the end?
Well, that's, but I don't know. That's what they explained. Just get the football past that thing. That's all they explained to me. And I was like, okay, good. That's all I needed to know. And so I would never get thrown the football, but I would just like, once the ball got past that, I was like, okay, good. We can carry on.
Wow.
And then I just didn't like what was it? I think it was flag football. So you were supposed to rip off flags, but we didn't have flags because our school was so budget. So it was touch football. That's what it was. You'd have to, if you touched the guy, then he was down. It was
Tickle football. Yeah, I'm going to get you.
It was so lame.
I've never understood the rules, but more than that, like I never wanted to understand the rules for anything, just because you were constantly in that. Here's an event. We're going to throw you in there, and we're going to judge you based on your performance, even though you've never played and we haven't told you the rules.
Did you ever?
So unappealing.
Did you ever have to do gymnastics?
No, we couldn't afford mats or anything like that.
Uh,
Our gym was an empty room with a couple of balls. That was it.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I hated gym class, elementary school, high school, the whole thing. But I actually failed gym my first year of high school because I didn't go. I would just not bring my stuff for two reasons. One was the whole, we're just going to throw you into this without telling you anything and expect the best from you and ridicule you if you give us anything less. The other is my school, which is a Catholic school. We had uniforms. And the gym uniform for the first year of high school was yellow spandex. Like they had these little spandexy, tighty shorts. And first year of high school, you're not quite grown up, but you're not a little kid anymore. You look really stupid at that age wearing like yellow spandex, which I would not wear. So I wouldn't bring my stuff. And I started bringing my own clothes, like just a t-shirt and shorts. I'm like, I can run around and get yelled at wearing this stuff instead of dressing up like a yellow sausage. So I failed the class. The gym teacher like got sick of me, and he made me clean the bus and stuff like that.
Wait, you failed the class and you had to clean the bus?
Yeah, because I wouldn't bring my stuff. So we normally would just have gym at the school, but then baseball season, whenever that is, we'd get in a bus and drive out to this field because we didn't have like an open ground of, like an athletic field at our school. We were in the middle of the city, so we had to go to the public park to use the baseball field. And the bus was filthy. It was just covered with dust and dirt. So I remember a couple times I didn't bring my stuff. So he's like, you stay here, clean the bus. I was like, fine, I'll sweep dirt out of a bus for an hour. Better than running around in the sun like you idiots.
Man, I would have told Buddy, look, if you're going to fail me, then why am I cleaning your bus? You can do it. If you're going to pass me, then I'll clean the bus. No problem.
Oh, yeah. There are so many times I look back on high school years or anything else, like with the mindset you have now, and you're like, why did I ever not stand up for myself in that situation?
Yeah.
I had a week of detention because I kind of stood up for myself, but not enough. There was a food fight in the cafeteria one day, and I wasn't there. We had our schedules where I was like in study hall or something at this time, but my class, like the whole sophomore year, junior year, whatever it was, they were in some kind of a food fight. And so they punished the entire class. Anyone who was in that grade had to go to detention or for something. And I didn't go because I wasn't there. I didn't know what happened. I saw the notice for it and I'm like, nah. So the next day, the dean of students calls me in. He was a jerk, which they always are, right? And he's like, you didn't go to detention. And the best I could come up with was, I forgot. He's like, no, you didn't forget. You just didn't show up. You got a week of detention now. And, at the time, I was just a nervous little kid, so I didn't stand up for myself. So I ended up going to detention for a week. But it's so easy to just point out the flaw in the logic now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I did not enjoy high school.
No, me neither. Well, you reminded me of, I was just talking to Sarah about this the other day, how we had, we were passing by a school, that's what it was, and all the parents were lined up to pick up their kids from school. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing how many parents pick up their kids at school, because I could count on one hand the amount of times my parents picked me up from elementary school, at least. Like, hardly ever happened. It was always walk home or ride your bike home.
You got to ride your bike to school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was nice. But in high school, I kept that tradition going for quite a while. I would actually have to take a bus there. But then in grade 10, I had to take an art class, and this art class was at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And this teacher she had like a real pickle up her ass about being quiet during the closing announcements. When they would come on and they would wrap up the day with the end of the day announcements over the PA, right? So everybody had to be quiet while this was going on. Okay, fine. No problem. Be quiet. But there would always be something stupid or whatever, and someone would come up with a smart ass comment about whatever it was, right? And you'd laugh because it was funny. Oh, well, because I laughed, I now had to stay and wait for, I guess there was a late bell or something like that. But out of the gate, my bus was like the first one to leave. So if I waited for that second bell, there was no way I was going to make my bus.
Is this a school bus or a city bus?
School bus.
You had school bus?
Yeah. So, it's Canada, man. We got money for this stuff.
I always had to walk.
So actually, actually Sarah had to take the city bus as well because we were rural, right? Because we would be going from the city of Sudbury out to rural areas where she went to school. It was all the city could cover it, so she would take the city bus as well. So, anyways, I would always miss my bus if she made me stay. So then I would have to either wait for the late bus. There would be a late bus, or I'd have to call my mom to come and get me. And it was like 90% of the time I was waiting for that late bus. So this art teacher did this to me about 3 or 4 times, where I didn't even say anything. I just laughed at whatever because I couldn't help it. I was whatever. It was funny, so I'd laugh. Oh, you got to stay. So finally, I just one day I just stood up for myself and I said, like, she was like, okay, you're gonna have to stay. I'm like, there's no way I'm staying. You've made me stay like, it'd be like the 5th time this month, and I have to keep waiting for the late bus. And my bus is the first one going out. And there's no way I'm staying. Oh no, you're staying, or you're going to the principal's office. I'm like, all right. So the bell rang and I left and I said, I'll see you in the principal's office tomorrow. I left and I went home. And
Nice.
and she never sent me to the principal's office, and she never made me stay again. It was stupid. It was dumb.
Yeah.
Like I could, if I was acting up and I was saying stuff, fine. But just for laughing at what someone else did, sometimes you just gotta say enough's enough.
Yeah. Well, I have the benefit of seeing the other side now, of being the teacher who would have to tell the students, knock that off. And you realize just like sometimes you do it just because, you're grumpy or you want quiet and you got to make yourself look like an authority figure. But deep down, you really just could care less. like if somebody comes in and they didn't do their assignment, there's that part of me that's like, I really don't care. I could
Right. Yeah.
But then you got to put the show on. No, you have to do this score, blah 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 blah, whatever.
Well, I think for high school students that makes sense. I actually would respect teachers more for doing that instead of like they would treat you as an adult, right? Well, you didn't do your thing. You're not going to get the grade. That's it. That's simple.
That's it. Yeah, I used to get a little more emotional, a little more worked up, when things didn't go right in the classroom. And then I think about all those teachers I had in high school that would just lose their temper and everything. Like, what?
Yeah,
that's really not necessary. That's it. When my students come in, it's very clear cut. I will grade you on your performance and on your work. If you're absent, I will mark you absent. Beyond that, I could care less what you do. Just that's it.
Did you ever? What's the right way to word this? Like, did you ever get no? Did you ever get in trouble while you were a student, and then find a way to weasel out of trouble?
I don't think I was the getting into trouble kind of student. No, I don't think so. Well, I was, ride the line. Just I was waiting for that end of class bell to ring, so I just sat there, did my stuff, and I was genuinely like there were classes I was interested in.
Yeah.
So, there were plenty of goofballs in the school already, so they got all the attention for that stuff. So I don't think I ever did anything that bad.
I wish I could say the same. Well, I never got it.
Years.
No, I never got in trouble like for anything, like doing anything serious. It was always stupid stuff, like, oh, you laughed at what someone else said, So I can't even remember this typing. We had a typing teacher, like she taught us how to type, how to use the J, K, K, L, all that stuff, right? And she just wasn't very good at her job, and she was, I don't know, in a mood one day, and she decided that she was going to call my mom on me, tell on me about something. I don't even remember what it was.
This is in high school? She's going to call your mom?
Yeah. Like I'm talking grade 9 or grade 10. So it just so happened that my mom, she was driving a school bus at the time, and I was able to get home before my mom got home. And she put, we had the old school answering machine with the audio cassettes. So this teacher calls and she leaves a message on there. So I get home before my mom does, and I play this message, and it's a stupid, and can you call me at blah, 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 your son's acting up or whatever. So I took that cassette and I put it in my ghetto blaster and I erased that sucker and put the tape back in.
That was a full size cassette.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
I'm used to those little micro.
Those micro, that was space age technology.
Yes, Chris Roberts couldn't care less. I know.
Bad test scores reflect poorly on the school teacher. It would be busy just to give them a good grade.
Easy just to give them a good grade.
Oh, there you go. Also, could care less indicates that you do care a little. Couldn't care less means that you don't care at all.
Yeah. Well, I don't care at all, which is why I speak the way I do.
I could not care less.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less, right? I could not care less. That's the right one, right?
Hmm.
Who said that? Was that you?
I believe so.
Way to go.
I also say ain't.
Yes, this is true. Bill says Kevin used to do this with our on-air tapes at work. Bill begged me to hide his mistakes, so that's what I would do. I'd say, "Okay, Bill, I'll do it for you."
I did have a similar situation. We would get, I think they use different terminology from school to school, but we had our report cards, which was our grades at the end of the year, and then we would get progress reports. Now, I've heard in some schools progress reports can actually be a positive thing, like this is how you're progressing. But in my elementary school, it always meant bad news. You only got a progress report if you were failing something.
So it was a lack of progress report?
Yeah. I guess they just disguise it with the lingo. So they would send them out every quarter. So you had a maximum potential of getting 4 of these a year. And one year, I forget what it was. Maybe it was math. I was failing right from the get-go. So I got one of those progress reports. And they mail it to your house. The envelope comes in. It's addressed to my mom. She opens it up. It's like, hey, what's going on here? You're not doing good in math. Blah, blah, blah. Shape up. All that. Come up to the second quarter. I'm still failing. Another one of those progress reports comes home. And my mom read it, and I guess she was in kind of a mood that day because she lost it. I remember we were in the basement when she saw me and started commenting about this. And she was upset. She had an iron in her hand.
Oh, was it plugged in?
I don't think so. I hope not, because she had that iron in her hand, and she got so mad. She lifted it up, and she smashed the thing down on top of the washing machine, which ended up breaking the bottom of the iron, the little plasticky foot part that kind of keeps it standing up, and put a big chip into the metal on the top of the washer. And something must have been bothering her because she never did anything like that previously or after. I never saw her lose her temper like that. But man, she smashed that thing, and she made me clean it up.
That's a cool move.
Third quarter comes around, and I was on the lookout. When this stuff's about to happen, I all that stuff was fresh in my head. I was monitoring the mail, and I was like, is there a progress report in here? And I totally missed it. Yes, Bill, Jersey Moms.
That'd be a good show.
But she calls me up to her room one day, and she's sitting on her bed, and she's kind of calm and collected. And another one of those progress reports, same thing, math. This time she's totally calm, relaxed. Just I can see she's upset, but she's going still, you're not doing any better with the math here. Finally, fourth quarter comes around, and this time still got the progress report, but at least I was able to catch it. I saw it in the mail, and I knew I was probably setting myself up for even more disaster, but that thing went straight in the trash. And I was like, saving myself the headache, and I never heard anything afterwards. So whether the school contacted her or what, I don't know. But And that was only that 1 year. I never had any other problems. We must have been studying algebra or something.
So you never
What
had
are all
to
these X's and Y's?
you never had to bring it back signed or anything like that?
We had to occasionally we had a homework pad in elementary school. Write down all your assignments for the day. And occasionally the teacher would put some kind of a grade in your homework assignment, some project or whatever. And one time I got an F in something, or I think we got U's in elementary school. We got unsatisfactories instead of F's. And we had to get it signed. And I was like, how am I going to do this? How do I work my way out of this one? And I noticed that some kids had, like, when they finished a page of their assignment book, I think the girls were doing this more. Sorry to be sexist in this day and age, but they would like fold the page over in this alternating way so that it would make like little triangles.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw some other kids doing it. I was like, all right, maybe I just stretch out today's assignments onto a second page. And I started folding all those previous pages into triangles. And then I bring it up to my mom, where the U is now buried on the previous page, all folded up. And I'm like, hey, you guys sign this. She's like, why? Like, I don't know. Teacher wants you to sign my assignment book for something. And she probably gave me a little look like, uh-huh. But she didn't flip it over, check or anything. She just signed it. Probably that same, like, yeah, I really don't care if you got a bad grade, just don't fail or whatever. She signed it. I brought it back to the teacher, who also didn't question why all the pages were suddenly folded over and the U was buried in there. But I don't know. I think, again, it's when you're a kid, a lot of that stuff seems so, it's like doom, it's just everything seems like it's so serious. Whereas my kid brought home a test not too long ago where she normally does really, really well, gets like perfect scores or misses like one or two. But then she just like totally bombed this one test, some new material that they were doing. And like, you don't get upset. It's like, you made a mistake, it just means you got to study harder. That's it. That's why you go to school. You're going to make lots of mistakes. Don't worry about it. So like when you're a kid, everything is so, oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
It's the end of the world.
Yeah.
But no, I got dishes to do. I got laundry to do. Like, come on.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I remember I was always they would always have to keep on me to do my homework when I was a kid, right? And part of it was, I think I had learning disabilities that were not diagnosed at all. Like I had dyslexia. I mixed stuff up all the time, especially with numbers and all that. And I remember somehow getting behind on my spelling. Like we'd have spelling lessons that you do every day, and it was a certain group of words that you would learn to spell every day. And there was one day where I think it just slipped my mind. I totally forgot to do my spelling homework. But my mom and my teacher had like this thing where they would act like both check to make sure I did my spelling every day. So my mom would sign it, and then I had to bring it in, and the teacher would sign it. It just kept going like every day. So there's one day where I just forgot. It slipped my mind. I don't know. My mind was on He-Man or whatever. Just forgot. And when I got to school the next day, the teacher forgot to check. So for like months, it went on where I was constantly like a lesson behind on my spelling, because I would take it home and my mom would check, right? And then I'd take it into the teacher, and all the teacher would check is that my mom checked. She wouldn't actually check to see what lesson I was doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got away with that for months and months and months. And it was actually harder for me because I would have to think back to the lesson from the previous day, right? we'd get the lesson and I'd have to like soak it all in and then sit there and do the lesson from the previous day and pretend I was doing the lesson from that day and bring it home, finish it off with my mom. And then, so I'd constantly have to remember like what it was. So I was actually doing something that I think was, better than all the other students were doing. They were getting hard mode,
Whatever little system you got.
Yeah. But then eventually they all caught on to it. And my mom freaked out. The teacher freaked out. And I was just like, I couldn't, like, if I brought it to you and said I was a lesson behind, you'd freak out. And then if I brought it to you, you'd freak out, So I didn't want anyone to freak out. So that's why I did the thing. I still got into trouble anyways. I was trying to do the right thing. But
God forbid they just say, hey, can you make up that other lesson?
And that was my point. My point was like, look, if I brought it to you and I just said I forgot, and you guys would be like, okay, don't worry about it, we'll get you caught up, then I would have been fine. But no, it's instead this.
Did you? You didn't tell them.
No. And then I was in trouble and I couldn't play with my toys and all that stuff. And, I'd sit in my room. This was the thing my mom would do. She would just sit in the kitchen at the kitchen table and she would yell at my dad about me, knowing that I'm in my room and I could hear everything that she could say. And it would just go on and on and on and on and on. I was so happy the day that I got a ghetto blaster to put in my room, because then I could just put the headphones on and just.
That's what he does. Listens to that devil music.
Yeah, and I still do to this.
Doesn't do his spelling assignments.
I think I should have got credit though for doing that, for remembering all that stuff from the previous day. Yeah.
Whatever.
There you go.
Did you go to a public school or private school?
So I went to Catholic school from kindergarten until the end of grade 6. But then I was getting my ass kicked too much by the bullies at school. So I went to the public school for grade 7 and 8 and just got emotionally abused there instead of physically abused. So that was like a little bit of that was a step up. And then in high school, I ran into all the same assholes again. But at least I had that other bus. So there was, for a long time in high school, we had 2 buses. And if I got on that first bus, again, this was the other reason why I didn't want to get on the other bus with this art teacher business. If I got on the first bus, all the bullies were like, they were a little slower to get out of the school because they were, I don't know, busy.
Yeah, they're too cool, Hang
Not
around.
only that, but they had drugs to swap and all that stuff after school, all that, crazy deals and all that. So if I got on that first bus, I would bypass all the bullies and I'd have a nice free ride home. But then after some budget cuts and that, they only had one bus leaving my high school going to my home. And those were that was like 3 years of torture every day. It was like, you couldn't sit at the front of the bus because there was bad kids that would sit up there and like they would smoke drugs and shit right behind the bus driver.
What's the bus driver doing?
She didn't care. These were bad. Like these kids all, like you think like, oh, they're if the bus driver says something to them, they'll listen. They were not going to listen. They didn't care. We had like the principal come on the bus, try to straighten people up. They just get laughed off the thing. These kids all like ended up in jail. Like some of them are in jail right now. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. These kids were not good people. They did not turn out to be good people. So they were at the front of the bus, and you had the other ones at the back of the bus. So your only hope was to get on the bus and get somewhere in the middle where you would just blend in and not be the target that day. That was my only hope. You're too far
away to annoy.
Yeah. So like, and you had to find that sweet spot in the middle, and other kids knew it too. And if you got on there and all the middle was kind of taken up, then you had to pick, am I going to sit in the front where I'm going to get my ass kicked, or am I going to sit in the back where I'm going to get my ass kicked? So normally I would go a little closer to the front, because if I was sat towards the back, when you're leaving, that was another thing too, right? You had to watch, you had to look down, because those feet were coming out and you were getting tripped. If you were looking up at the star or looking outside or whatever, you had to concentrate on where you were going, because they'll see you and they'll just stick that foot out and you're on the floor. So, I would normally go towards the front, but that was always sometimes you gotta, like they would just throw stuff at your head. So you just kind of crouch down and just wait for the ride to be over. And they tell you too, like, this is the other advice that people give you with bullies: just ignore them and they'll get bored and they'll stop what they're doing. Yeah, right. You ignore them, that only encourages them. Hey, this guy's ignoring us. Let's throw some more shit at his head. It just, all this advice and everything, all this like anti-bullying stuff and all that. Come talk to me about bullying, man. I'll tell you what, like, there's kids don't care. You can tell them all that stuff all you want. They don't care. If their parents are like giving them a hard time or whatever it is, or they just feel like as if they're being hard done by or that, they're just assholes. They're immature people and they'll just make your life a living hell. You show any sign of weakness, that's it. You're done. You're toast. Survival of the fittest, man.
I used to feel bad like we didn't have buses in my schools. I mean, granted, it wasn't terribly far. I could walk home for about 10 minutes from my elementary school and, 20 minutes from my high school. But, I suppose if I had to deal with that every day, that would have been a nightmare.
Not good times. Were these guys ladies' men in high school? Richard, were you a ladies' man in high school?
Absolutely not, because I went to a Catholic school. It was an all boys Catholic school.
I have no excuse other than I was a dweeb and no woman would even look in my direction, let alone talk to me or anything like that. No. I made up for it in college, though. Let me tell you.
Oh,
yeah.
I bet.
I got stories. That I saw on TV or watched in movies or whatever.
Yeah, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop there.
Zero. Never been a ladies' man.
No, I wasn't a gentleman's.
Not a gentleman's man either, Kyle. But
a coxman.
Sure.
The one decent thing about high school, Catholic school, was at least the uniforms were better there. We had a little more flexibility. In my elementary school, yellow and brown. Yellow dress shirt, brown tie, brown pants, brown shoes. It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Yeah, it's as appealing as it sounds. The other thing, because my school was so ghetto, our school lunches, we had the cafeteria, and it had the setup, where it had the thing where you could put the tray and go down, and they'd have all the little serving things and the fountain drink dispenser and everything. Never used it. They had all the setup there, but they didn't have the money to actually implement any of that and put food in there and clean it out every day. So my mom was busy. She was a single mom and didn't have time to, prepare us school lunches every day. She had to get to work. So we had the option of buying school lunch, which was you had to bring your money and give it to the teacher every day. And it was either $1 or $1.25 or $1.50, something like that. Monday was pizza. Tuesday was hot dog. Wednesday was a chicken sandwich. Thursday was hamburger or cheeseburger, if you want to get crazy.
Oh.
Friday was a tuna fish sandwich with potato chips. Catholic school, we weren't allowed to eat meat on Fridays.
Right.
After a while, I guess tuna fish was too difficult for them. Took too much time to prepare. So pizza came back on Friday as well. And this was frozen pizza, like the little rectangle, take it out of the freezer, put it in the toaster. That's your pizza. And when I say hot dog, hamburger, chicken sandwich, that was it. No drink, no side, no mustard, ketchup, anything. That was our menu for 8 years.
Ugh.
Every single week was exactly the same. You pay your $1. I have a little rectangle of frozen pizza. I have a plain hot dog on a bun. That was our lunch. they had absolutely no money to provide us with anything. Now, I'm sure nowadays all the schools have their nutritionists on staff, and they have to make sure the meals are balanced and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Straight ghetto.
I don't know. I've seen enough specials about school lunches in the States where they're not balanced at all. Like,
something. I mean, my stomach has been trained for just garbage food from all that, but.
Well, Deke says I am the Canadian Lance Armstrong. I don't know how. I don't take steroids, and I have both my testicles. So,
can you ride a bicycle?
I haven't done that in a long time. A very long time.
Do you have a bike?
I do, and it is full of dust.
You should take some cues from Duke there. Go out on the trails. Ride your bike.
Yeah.
I should get a bike. I used to have one.
I just prefer walking on the trails, really, instead of biking. Tough Streets of Sudbury was a famous after-school special. That might not be a bad idea. It really wasn't the streets of Sudbury. It was really the bus ride from Sudbury to Coniston. And Kyle's with you on the rectangular pizzas.
I don't necessarily miss them.
Yeah, Bill has seen me on a bike, and I am now a Lance Armstrong. That's for sure.
Does your bike have a little bell? Ding, ding.
It does not. But that's coming back. Like, a lot of people have that when you're out walking on the trails. They got the bell to let you know that they're coming up.
If you buy a bike here, they pretty much always come with a bell on them. Yeah. I mean, in Asia in general, people tend to use bikes a lot more as just day-to-day transportation. So there's tons of them everywhere. Every once in a while, you see a garbage truck come by with just like tons of trashed bikes in them.
Really? Deke wants to know if I have training wheels on or off. They're off.
You should probably put them back on, though.
I did make it that far. I did get to the point where I don't need training wheels anymore. Yeah. Okay, well, that's an hour.
We pulled that out.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on that topic, but it was fine. It was good.
Right. Lots of comments, lots of support here.
Yeah. Very nice.
We don't need to do any heavy lifting as long as people show up.
I suppose.
They provide the content. They provide the direction.
Me and Kev tore up mountain bike trails. True. I don't know if we tore them up, but we did ride on a few. I remember wiping out. I remember going over the bike. Yeah. I remember going over the bike and bending my wheel. And then I took it into a bike shop, and they had it for like 3 weeks, and they wouldn't fix it. And
they just put a new wheel on.
Yeah. They wouldn't, like, I was like, I'm fine, just put a new wheel on it. Like, and they just wouldn't do it. They were so busy with back order stuff and that. My bike wasn't, I guess, important enough. So it's still in the garage with the wheel bent on it.
Must have been some tumble. The only bike accident I ever had was when I was a kid. I took a turn too sharp and my bike slipped. I fell under it, and the tire caught the bottom of a chain link fence where it had been snipped, so it popped the tire.
That's not good. Wow. Oh no, I used to wipe out all the time. I had a 10-speed bike, which had the handlebar brakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of my dyslexia, I had to constantly, which one is the front brake, which one is the back brake. So I would actually leave my hand off of the front brake,
right?
And because I would forget. And and then after a while you get a little cocky, and it's like, okay, I got this, no problem. Then nope, you're going over.
Well, don't you just squeeze them both at the same time?
You can do that too, but if that front one is a little, because the back brake would wear out a little, wear out faster, right? Because you'd use that more. So then, if you kept doing that, it would actually, the bike would even when you hit them both at the same time, the bike would Just give you that little.
Maybe just don't go so fast.
Oh, come on. What's the point of having a bike if you're not going to go fast?
You just spent the past 5 minutes talking about how you don't use your bike and you're scared to ride your bike. And
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you got to go fast.
That's right.
Could be cool.
Okay. Follow the Cartridge Club. Follow us. We're the Cartridge Club's only weekly podcast on Twitter. I tried to get the soundboard, but I just ran out of time this week.
You just gave up.
There was too much to do this week. Crazy week. Crazy.
Too much to do. You spend 3 hours watching a movie you don't like and don't have to watch.
Well, here's the other thing. Sarah had not seen The Godfather 3. So after watching 1 and 2, she was curious about 3. I said, well, if there was ever a time to watch The Godfather 3 again, it was now. And then you kind of have that hope all the time. It's like Lucy and the football. You kind of hope, well, maybe this time, like maybe my memory isn't kind to this movie. Maybe it's
30-year-old movie is going to change.
Maybe my perspective will change. Because that has happened. Where you look back on something like, yeah, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Sure.
But no, this is. It's actually worse. And yeah, join us on Discord. I mean, people go over there and talk sometimes. So Duke left some messages over there.
Do
you want me to call that up? Do you want me to call that up?
I have no idea. I have no idea what it says.
He still refuses. He still refuses to answer my question on why he can't watch Star Trek because he didn't like it when he was a kid. He still won't answer that question.
He's too busy playing with his toys, his Star Wars action figures.
I think the slight age difference is definitely a factor in my and Chris's Star Wars experience compared to yours. I was a teenager when TMNT got big. I was into them for sure, but my age made it less nostalgic. TMNT. And he also watched the original Tron last year and had fun with it. He had seen it in a long time. He hadn't seen it in a long time. Certainly convoluted, but I enjoyed it for what it is. And I don't know. It's kind of weird. I thought it was weird.
It's a goofy movie.
It is.
I think it's a fun movie to look at.
Yeah.
And comment on.
Yeah.
But to sit down and I'm gonna follow this story.
Yeah. And he left a lot of comments here. He's like, he liked hearing the Star Wars discussion. He saw Clone Wars in the theater, and even he admits it's not great. Whoa!
I saw that in the theater too.
The series is fantastic. Daredevil season 3 is phenomenal and has one of the most satisfying climaxes of any Marvel movies. You know what? Maybe I didn't see Daredevil season 3. I can't remember.
I've told you this many, many times over the past few recordings. When I comment on it, you say, maybe I didn't see it. It's the one with the Punisher, right? And I say, no, that was season 2. Now I'm on season 3.
All right. Well, maybe I should go back.
Watch it.
I should.
We can talk. If you want, I'm sure you can probably watch the season by the time we do our next Fandango, and I'll have finished it by then, so we could have a whole discussion.
Okay.
You could even watch the Defenders and do it in proper order.
Is it season 3 of Daredevil and then the Defenders, or Defenders?
No, it's Daredevil 1, 2.
Yeah.
And then it's like Jessica Jones 1, Luke Cage 1, Iron Fist 1. Then it's the Defenders. Then it's Daredevil 3, Jessica Jones 2 or 3 or something. And then
can I skip Iron Fist?
Yes, because he's just a... Yes.
Okay.
So essentially, Daredevil 1, 2, Defenders, Daredevil 3.
Okay. I'll ask Sarah if she has any interest in watching.
You watch some Jessica Jones, Vox.
Here's the mistake you're making, Bill. You cannot force Richard to watch anything because that's a guaranteed Vox.
Well, I'll tell you this:
you gotta let him come to it.
Her character is less obnoxious during the course of this Defenders thing. Like once she drops that initial barrier that she's got, that I'm guessing is like a constant thing. Like, oh, the barrier's up, and oh, I gotta let it down. Oh, the barrier's up, and I gotta let it down. She's not as bad.
I don't know, I liked her. I liked that first season, anyways. With David Tennant, that was good. Purple Man.
I didn't like the first episode. I thought it was just all set up and no explanation. And I was like, you give me something, don't just
Pre-box.
set everything up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Bill's got your number. That's for sure.
No, it's just the things he likes to say that have no meaning. He just likes to say them.
We got some people watching Godfather 3. That's pretty good. Kyle's apparently going to watch them. So that's pretty good. And I think Creepy Josh, he's been watching them too. He watched 1 and 2 anyway, so I have some people in on the discussion. Next week for Godfather. Okay. What do you say they wrap it up? That's it.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.